So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome another one of my very special guests here this weekend into the announcer's booth. He is going to be your announcer here at World Wide Technology Raceway. He's trying to learn something from me and Kenny Nowling. I don't know if we're really, teaching him anything. Here's Harry Loomis, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for the introduction, Colton. And nonetheless, it's just how to have fun. So that's the most important part. That's absolutely right. So I'm going to kick things off here. We have Jeremy Watkins out of Rolla, Missouri in the T-Mobile left lane, dialing in a 483. And to his right, the Monster Energy right lane, is Eric Barrich out of Bethalto, Illinois, dialing in a 488. So not much of a head start for Barrich whatsoever. Aside from a 20-year age difference here, these two dialed in about the exact same time. So cars ready here, ready to get going. Creeping their way to the starting point. There they go. Great start for Barrich. Pick up 0.03 of a second at the line. Give it to Eric Barrich. Watkins breaks out by 0.081 of a second. Close race in the first 60 feet with Barrich 1/1000th of a second ahead, but that reaction time really did him a bunch of favors, and he will move on because of it. As we move on now, Greg Rice out of Maryland Heights, Missouri in the T-Bubble left lane, taking on Jason Grams out of St. Peters, Missouri in the Monster Energy right lane. Grams will have about 5/600th of a second head start here as he dials in a 522 to Rice's 468. Waiting on these cars here. Graham's about to take off. There he goes. And 0.28 over for Jason Grams as Greg Rice is going to get the free win here. In this round, he will move on. Now here's Brian Cook in the T-Mobile left lane, dialing in a 510, and in the Monster Energy right lane is Daryl Forsyth, who dialed in a 489. Not much information on Forsyth, but Brian Cook from Arnold, Missouri. He is 55 years old. And he will go about 0.02 of a second before Forsyth. As the cars are lined up here. And another red light. Brian Cook throws it away in the left lane. Give the win to Daryl Forsyth, who actually broke out, but lesser of two evils. First defense is the worst defense, so Daryl Forsyth will win. Keeping it going now. Here's Tim Foley out of Dardine Prairie, Missouri in the T-Mobile left lane. Frankie Radke in the Monster Energy right lane out of St. Louis, Missouri. Radke will have the head start with a 540 dial-in time to Tim Foley's 492. Will we have a clean run, or will we see another red light? Who knows? Radke's lined up, waiting on Foley. There he is. And there they go. And it's another red light. Frankie Radke throws it away by 0.006 of a second. Both drivers break out, give the win to Tim Foley in the T-Mobile left lane. He will move on. Keeping it going now with a couple more regulars. This is Amanda Miller out of O'Fallon, Illinois in the T-Mobile left lane. And in the Monster Energy right lane, it's St. Charles, Missouri's Greg Sesty. Both with 499 dial-in times. Here they go, ready to get going. Nope, another red light. Greg Sesty by 0.002 of a second that time. As yet another race sees a red light right at the beginning. It's over before it gets started. Amanda Miller runs a 5 flat, just 1/100th of a second off her dial-in time, and she gets the win. We got father versus son here. Tim Reed in the left lane. And he's going to take it over his father, David Reed. Something went wrong with David Reed's car in the right lane, and he could not get going. Not to take anything away from Tim Reed, though. Look at that reaction time. A 001 in the left lane. He was going to give a whooping to his dad there. 001 reaction time, runs a 491 with a 5. Never the way you want to win it, but Tim Reed will advance here.
Winning doesn't just happen. You have to engineer it. You have to test it and make it better than it was the last time. Our engineers have the passion to create the parts you need, the way you need them to be, again and again and again. We've led this game for over 40 years, and we design, refine, and perfect every valve-train part worthy of the winner's circle.
We drive tech. We drive the industry, going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Racers that win, pour it in, and we appreciate you.
No matter what you race, how you drive, or how much power you make, Brisk spark plugs power it all. Cutting-edge technology, patented designs, superior performance.
I love Brisk spark plugs.
Whether you're in sportsman front-wheel drive or pro modified, find the spark you've been missing.
Winning doesn't just happen. You have to engineer it. You have to test it and make it better than it was the last time. Our engineers have the passion to create the parts you need, the way you need them to be, again and again and again. We've led this game for over 40 years, and we design, refine, and perfect every valve train part worthy of the winner's circle.
Monster Energy right lane is Freeburg's Terry Kamler, who dials in a 478. So it should be a pretty even race here, as Hogel's gonna have about a 500th of a second head start. 36-year difference between these two. Hogel 22, Kamler 58 years old. What better way to spend a Saturday? Cars are lined up. Green lights all around. Let's decide this one at the line. Who will it be? Paige Hogel, as Kamler breaks out by 300ths of a second. Paige Hogel was right on her dial-in time. She dialed in a 483, ran a 483 with a 3, and she's going to advance to the next round. As in the T-Mobile left lane is Mark Cather out of St. Charles, Missouri, dialing in a 5 flat. And in the Monster Energy right lane is Jason Phillips out of Granite City, Illinois, with a 485. Cather's going to have about a 10th and a half over Phillips here, as the cars are getting lined up here. And another pair of green lights. Let's see who's going to get it. It's going to be a close one at the line. You can give it to Jason Phillips by just 0.02 of a second. Made up nearly 200ths on the reaction, and that was the difference right there. As Jason Phillips gets it, Cather was right on his dial-in time, ran a 5 flat with a 5, but was not able to get it done. Jason Phillips wins and moves on. As we move on now, Wentzville, Missouri's Tommy Barbero dials in a 663. George Atchison Sr. out of Centralia, Illinois, dials in a 538 in the right lane. There goes Barbero when he red lights it. Red light for Barbero. You can give the win to George Atchison Sr., who had a great run. 015 reaction time, 538 with a 3. Right on with his dial-in time. Great run for him, and he will advance. As we advance now, Dennis Pearson out of St. Peters, Missouri, with a 675 dial-in. Mulberry Grove, Illinois' Todd Nickel dials in a 645 in the Monster Energy right lane, so Pearson will have a 3/10 head start, excuse me. Cars are lined up here. There they go, and it's a red light for Todd Nickel by nearly 3 whole tenths. But what a reaction by Dennis Pearson. Let's give some credit to him, and another 001 reaction time. Dennis Pearson gets off to a great jump, maybe forced Todd Nickel to go a bit earlier than he wanted to. But Dennis Pearson will move on. Here is Hillsborough, Missouri's Angelo Belosi in the T-Mobile left lane with a 631. For Stell's Kevin Johnson with a 598 in the Monster Energy right lane. Belosi will have the 3/10 head start here as the cars are lined up. There goes Belosi, there goes Johnson. Green lights, very close in the reaction time. Looks like Johnson may have pulled ahead. Oh, but he breaks out. He breaks out by 0.08 of a second. You can give the win to Angela Belosi. Johnson would have had the win by about 0.02 of a second, but he went just 0.08 of a second over. Just the blink of an eye made the difference there. Keeping it going now. Here is Larry Kahn out of House Springs, Missouri, dialing in a 632. with Scott McCarty out of Troy, Missouri, dialing in a 540 right lane. Pair of green lights. Great reaction by Larry Kahn. Picked up almost 0.3 of a second at the line. He breaks out. He breaks out by 1,000th of a second. He had to win by 0.4 of a second. But that 1,000th of a second on the breakout is the difference. Give the win to Scott McCarty. 1,000th of a second is the difference between victory and defeat there. Bill Beaver out of Columbia, Illinois, dials in a 541. Nick Kane out of Lawndale, Missouri, dials in a 566 in the right lane. 2.5 head start for Kane here in the right lane. As there he goes. Trip zip in the right lane for Nick Kane, but he breaks out as well. Wow, Bill Beaver dialed in a 541, ran a 541 with a 4. What a run for Beaver. As Nick Kane, even with the trip zip, breaks out, and he will now move on. It will be Bill Beaver out of Columbia, Illinois, winning and moving on. Here's Bob Krekel out of Union, Missouri, with a 605 in the left lane. Dan Stone out of Troy, Missouri, in the Monster Energy right lane. Dan Stone, one of the seasoned veterans, 71 years of age. Krekel, 43. The lights are up now. There goes Stone, and there goes Krekel to follow. Another red light. Dan Stone just 0.003 of a second over. Give the win to Bob Krekel, who did not get the best reaction time by any means. But the red light will advance him on to the next round. Keeping it going now. Here is Wayne Cook out of Hillsboro, Missouri, dialing in a 526. And in the right lane is Billy Stockel out of Willow Ridge, Missouri, with a 560. Got a 68 Camaro in the left lane versus a 1970 Dodge Challenger in the right lane. Track is clear, ready to get going. It's going to be Stockel with a 3/10 head start here. So lights are up, and there they go, and it's another red light by 0.002 of a second. Both had 0.002 of a second reaction times. Cooks was in the green, Stockles was in the red. Wayne Cook is going to get the win. Keeping it going now, here's Guy Quisenberry out of Chesterfield, Missouri, and his 2001 Chevy with a 518 dial-in time. We do not have information on the Monster Energy right lane just yet, but they are currently dialed in at a 12:48. So a 7-second head start here. That is Andy Hartline in the right lane. Andy Hartline with a 12:48, and he is going to get going now. Now the wait for Guy Quisenberry to get going. There he goes. Can he get the time? This is going to be a close one at the line. He does. Guy Quisenberry by just under 1/10 of a second. Made up 700ths on the reaction, and he had a great run, 5:19 with an 8. And he gets the win here and moves on. Here is St. Anne, Missouri's Gary Lewis with a 689 in the T-Mobile left lane and his 1969 Skylark. And in the Monster Energy right lane is Bethalto, Illinois' Eric Barrich with his 2011 racecraft, dialing in a 488. 2 full seconds is the head start for Gary Lewis here, the 29-year-old from St. Anne, Missouri. Running a car that is much older than him, I must say. But it doesn't matter, he's going to get going with it. And one. There goes There's the follow. 2 green lights, 2 great reactions. Close one at the line. Breakout for Eric Barrich. Give the win to Gary Lewis. 0:02 reaction time. Just 100th of a second slower than his dial-in time. That's about as good as a run can get there for Gary Lewis, and he gets the job done. Keeping it going now. Collinsville, Illinois' Jesse Garcia dials in a 660 from the T-Mobile left lane. St. Peter's owns Jason Grams dials in a 521 out of the Monster Energy right lane. Garcia will have nearly a 1.5 head start here, the 32-year-old out of Collinsville, Illinois. But the hood is up on Garcia's car, his 1978 Nova. And there goes Ramsey getting the win. Let's see what he runs. Actually breaks out, but Garcia is unable to get a run in, so Jason Grams will advance by default here. A 5:16 with a 9 for Grams. 131 miles an hour. We need small tire, no time to the lanes, please. Small tire, no time to the lanes. Keeping it going now. Tommy Barbera out of Wentzville, Missouri. Dials in a 660 in his 1978 Malibu. Greg Sesty out of St. Charles, Missouri. And the 1967 Camaro dials in a 627 on the Monster Energy right lane. Wentzville and St. Charles representing this one. Just west of the Missouri River, that is. Barbera will take off 3/10 before Greg Sesty. As there they go. Almost similar reaction times, both in 3. Coming to the line, it's a close one. You can give it to Greg Sesty by 0.005 of a second. What a run! 4 thousandths was the difference on the reactions, and Sesty barely made that up at the 1/8 mile mark, and he gets it done by just 0.005 thousandths of a second. What a run there! Keeping it going, it's Daryl Forsyth with a 488, in the T-Mobile left lane. Tony Atchison with a 529 in the right lane. A reminder for the 50-50 raffle. The drawing will be at 9 o'clock tonight, so you have just under an hour to get your 50-50 tickets. You don't want to miss it. That pot is rising by the minute. 50-50 raffle draws at 9 o'clock.